Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Behind me, 2010 Honda Accord, we're going to be replacing the front wheel bearings. This does require a special press, but I'll have a link in the description and I'll show you how to use it. Let's get started. First thing we want to do is jack the vehicle up, put it on jack stands, we'll pull our tire off. This one's a little stuck. Might need to use my foot. Sometimes the aluminum rims cause a little corrosion around this hub, so we'll just break that free. We're gonna start with our spindle nut. Notice it's stamped to lock it into place. We wanna unstamp it. For that we can use a chisel. Just put it in there, tap on it. Just to bring that up. Our axle nut is a 36 millimeter. Now I'm gonna be using an impact. If you don't have an impact, you could take a flat screwdriver, put it in between the fins of your rotor, just like that, and then it'll lock it in place while you break it loose. See what my impact can do. Whew, took a little bit of effort. The next thing we need to know is if our CV axle can come out of our hub. So we'll just push on it. Ugh. Let's get a little hammer, we'll tap on it. Okay, it is moving, that's great, because we will have to remove our CV axle. So now let's work on getting our brakes disassembled. I'm gonna turn the wheel all the way to one side. That'll give us better access to our caliper bracket bolts. Now we'll take our screwdriver, put it right in this window. We'll pull on our caliper. That'll give us a little slack, just a little like that. That'll give us a little slack so it all goes back together a little easier. Let's remove this bolt up here. Can't quite see it, let me aim you up. It's just this hose retainer. It's a 12 millimeter. Get that out like that. Just gonna put the bolt back so we don't lose it. Let me aim you back down just a smidge. Our caliper bracket bolts are a 17 millimeter. Hold on to it. Get that bolt out. Now we'll take a hanger, a bungee cord or some wire, whatever you have. Just do that. This whole thing will come off together and we'll hang it on our strut. There, nice and out of the way, just like that. Next we have our rotor. Our rotor is held into place with 2 Phillips screws. Having an impact driver works really well. Let's put that on and give it a whack. There we go. We'll put a little bit of anti-seize on these when we reinstall them. These kind of scare me because they don't always want to come out. These came out really nicely. If your rotor doesn't just fall off, we'll use a hammer. We don't want to hit on the outside. That'll damage our rotor, but we can hit in between our wheel studs. Nice. I'm gonna turn the wheel back all the way in the other direction and we'll get our wheel speed sensor off. For this, we'll want a 10 millimeter. We'll take this bracket off first and then the sensor. Let me get a little extension. Now the trick is to wiggle the sensor out. I'm just gonna break off any of this crust around it. What we're gonna do is just knock on it and try to get it to spin inside its hole, possibly. There we go. Now we can get underneath it. Just want to be careful not to break it, but we'll just give it some wiggles. Give it some wiggles. Try a different angle. Some wiggles. There we go. Got it. So just a little finesse. There's another bracket here. Let's take that off. So it's completely out of the way and we don't accidentally damage it. Nice. One more time, we'll turn the wheel all the way to the other side, then we'll take our upper ball joint off. So we have our cotter pin. I'm just gonna take a pair of side cutters just to bend this back. Try to get it as straight as possible. And we'll tap it through. There we go. Now once we start getting a little bit coming out, you can take the side cutters just to get a bite on it and pull the rest of the way. I'm gonna apply just a little bit of lubricant on this. This is a 17 millimeter. Crack it loose. It's not crazy tight. Get it with my electric ratchet. And we'll tap on the knuckle a little. Hopefully that vibration will break it loose. We don't want to bang too hard. There we go. Let me back you up. Lower strut bolt. That is a 17 millimeter as well. This is a through bolt with a nut on the other side, so we'll hold the nut, also 17 mil, and we'll buzz it out. Tap the bolt through. Get it the rest of the way. Keep spinning it out. Let's get our lower ball joint off. It'll be similar as the upper joint. So we just got our cotter pin, bend that, start tapping on it just until the head comes out enough. And get a little bite on it. There we go. And just pull it out the rest of the way. This is a 19 millimeter. Tap on this a little. All right, nice. I got ahead of myself just a little. Let's just put this nut back on. We want to take a slide hammer and remove our hub. Let me reposition you. Now the slide hammer you can rent from the auto parts store if you don't feel like purchasing your own. We'll use the lug nuts. Now we're just gonna pull this hub away from the bearing. It's coming, just keep working on it. There we go. Now you can reuse your old hub, but you have to get rid of this wheel bearing race. I find it easier just to buy a new hub. The last thing we're gonna remove on this is our tie rod. And then our whole knuckle can come off the vehicle. On the tie rod, we got a cotter pin just like the others. Straighten it out, knock it through. This is a 19 millimeter. I'll pull up on the tie rod while I smack the knuckle. If for some reason smacking's not working, they do make separators. This is called a pickle fork, and there's a couple other different styles of separators as well. So far, just the vibration of hitting on it has knocked everything loose on this vehicle. So now, let's remove the knuckle. Just gonna remove that nut, remove the upper nut, and this whole thing should slide forward and up out of the lower control arm. In theory. There we go. That's it. So now that it's off the vehicle, we can press out the old bearing, press in the new bearing and hub. Let's get that set up. We just have our knuckle up on the table. We're gonna take a little pry bar, and on the back of the knuckle, we're gonna pop out this little dust seal. All right, so the seal is out. Perfect. Flip it over on the other side. We have our lock ring. So let's get a pair of pliers for those. Thought I had a pair of snap ring pliers, but I just got needle nose. They will work. I fit them in there. Before pinching these together, what I like to do is just take a flat screwdriver and then hit on it. That'll break this ring free and it'll come off easier. So just a little hit. So now we'll take these, put them in there, squeeze them together. This is a challenge because I'm not using the right tool. Come on, I just need you to come out. There we go. Now we could just work it. Perfect. So if you had actual lock spring pliers, that probably would have came out a lot easier. But we got it. So now the bearing will press out in this direction. For that, we'll want a receiving cup out of our kit. We want it, looks like the biggest one in the kit will be what we need. And then we're gonna put that cap on it like that. Okay, now we're gonna flip it over. And on this side, we want a piece to push it through. Let's see, that's too big. There we go. That is number 955-19 out of the kit. So now we'll put our bolt all the way through, tip it back over, put our piece on here. We have our washer. Before we put our nut on, we're gonna put a little bit of lubricant on the washer. Turn the washer over, lubricate the other side, lubricate our threads. There we go. Center it up. All right, now on this kit, this nut is a 32 millimeter. I think the other side is a 27. The other side is a 27 millimeter. I'm gonna use a wrench for this side just to hold it. And all the business happens on the nut side. Kind of center you up. Let me spin this just a little. There we go, so I got access to the wrench. And then we have this. This works best with an impact. It's gonna make your life a lot easier with a quality impact. If you don't own one though, you can still do this with a breaker bar. Now we're gonna tighten everything up. That's gonna suck that back in and push the wheel bearing into our cup. Whew, we are almost there. I think I'll have to get a socket on the other side. Let me show you real quick. So you can see how this is sucking in, and now my wrench, it's in a little too deep for my wrench to grab hold of it. So let me get a socket. We're practically out. All right, let's finish this up. That is it. So now our wheel bearing is right inside. You can see how an impact makes this a lot easier. And there's the bearing. Sweet, let's get our new one, press it in. So we want to be very careful with our new bearing. I'll wipe off the table. You don't want to damage this magnet, so always put magnet facing up, and we don't want anything magnetized near it. To get our knuckle, just make sure everything looks good. And we're gonna press the bearing in this direction, and we want the magnet facing down. I like to apply just a little lubricant, just for it to go in a little easier. Rub that around. I'm gonna apply a little bit of lubricant on the bearing as well. Just on the outside. What I'm using is just a silicone paste, like a dielectric grease, but any lubricant will work. Just spread it around. Get any debris off. That brush looks like it was falling apart on me. Okay, that looks good. Magnet side down. Very careful now that it's slippery. I'm just gonna set it in there. Now we wanna find a piece that's exactly this size. The number on it is 955-16, if you're using the same kit I am. So we'll put this on just like that. We will feed this through. Flip it over on the side. Now on this end, we want a piece big enough that spans over this whole lip. So probably this might be, I think that's our size. Let's just lube this up, put the washer on, lube the washer up, and then the threads. Put this on. Just try to get it started as center and straight as possible so that the bearing goes in as straight as possible. Okay, so now I'm just gonna hold this end while I impact the other end, and it'll suck that bearing in until it bottoms out. Let me go sideways so you can see it better. Okay, I think that's bottomed out. We'll back it up. Now we'll just look inside, make sure it's bottomed out on the back side. Nice. And then on the inside, we just want to make sure that our snap ring will fit in the groove. Haha, that's it. So while we're on this side, let's go ahead and put our snap ring back. Just get this close. Hopefully my pliers can get it. There we go. And I like to just tap it to make sure it's seated all the way around. Now let's put in our new hub. We'll just press it in this way. I'm gonna do the same thing, put a little bit of lubricant, just on the inside here, and on the outside of our hub. Rub that around. Now this is gonna go in like that. We can use our same piece here, only I'm gonna do it upside down. So this goes in just like that. You can have the flat piece on it, no big deal. Slide this in, turn it over. Now on this end, we want a piece that goes right on this so our bearing doesn't separate. So I'm gonna be using the 95512. Lubricate it. Now it is important that we have the flat side facing the bearing. Do that, lubricate it again. There's a lot of friction, so don't be afraid to lubricate it. Make sure we're straight as much as possible. Okay, so just like everything else, hold on to this end. Let me angle it so you can see. It's bottomed out. Okay, now let's make sure our bearing still spins nice and free. We don't hear any rubbing or grinding. Nice. Now on the back, we got our dust shield. Now when installing our dust shield, it does go on in a particular orientation. If you flip it over, you see this high ridge, that goes down towards the ball joint, and then there's a little channel right here. That goes where the wheel speed sensor is. So we'll just orientate that. You can see where the wheel speed sensor hole is. So we'll make sure that that channel is right there, and we'll just tap it in. All right, looks flush. Just want to be careful with iron particles. Sweet, this is done. Now let's install it back on the vehicle. On our CV axle splines, we're gonna put a little bit of anti-seize just on the splines, not on our threads. That way this can come out from a long time from now. Just rub it around. Looks good. And we'll put in our lower ball joint first. Let's just wipe off the top mating surface so it sits as flush as it can. All right, here comes the hard part. Get our CV axle started in, our ball joint started in. Get our splines to line up. And you can turn the hub if you need, just to get those splines lined up. Oh, there, ball joint's in. Still working on the CV axle. So there we go, wiggle and a jiggle. There, got threads sticking out. Put our nut on. Now let's put our upper ball joint in. Let me move you, turn the light on. That didn't really help. Let me zoom you in. For our upper ball joint, we just want to pull down on the upper control arm just to get it started in there. Have your nut ready and we'll just put the nut on. Ooh, nice. I'm gonna suck this down. The information I have says this is torqued between 33 and 38 foot-pounds. If our cotter hole does not line up, then we'll just keep tightening to the next available cotter slot. Put in a new cotter pin, bend it over. Since we got our lower ball joint in, let's torque that now. So we'll put our nut on, just snug it up. This is between 58 and 65 foot-pounds. That could also go just a smidge more. New cotter pin. Now let's do our lower strut bolt. Get this put in. We want to push down on our control arm. Move this out of the way just a little. You get a little pry bar. Sometimes I wish I had a little partner to help, but I just have a pry bar pushing down on the control arm with one hand while I line all this up with the other. There we go. Give it a little tap. Because our lower strut uses a lock nut, we're gonna apply a little bit of Loctite. Blue Loctite is just fine. Red is all I could find. We're just gonna apply it to the threads of our bolt. Thread it on, suck it down. This is 47 foot-pounds. Put in our wheel speed sensor. Just grab our wire harness, put the sensor in the hole. Should just drop in. Now there's 3 10mm bolts. They are different size. The longest one goes for our sensor. Put this back on. We want these just lightly snug. We can put on our tie rod, bring it in like that. Put on our nut, snug it down. Our tie rod is 40 foot-pounds. Put in a new cotter pin. I think that's everything over here. Now let's put our brakes back on. Put our rotor back on. Make sure our screw holes line up. With our screws, we're just gonna put a little bit of anti-seize. Doesn't take a whole lot. Get it put in. Do the same thing with the other one, just a little. That put in. Now these don't have to be crazy tight, just snug, because we want them to come out when we have to change our brakes later. There we go. Now we can put on our caliper. We'll get this, take it off our little holder. There we go. Make sure we got it right so our brake hose isn't twisted. Put this right over our rotor. Put these bolts in, snug them down. And these are torqued to 80 foot-pounds. Got this we could put back on. Let me get that bracket out. We'll go just snug with this. I think the last thing we have is our spindle nut. So let me straighten the wheel out and we'll torque that down. We'll start by sucking this down all the way. Now this is torqued to a whopping 242 foot-pounds. We'll take our screwdriver, put it in the fins. That'll lock it in place for us. Give it all the muscles we have. All right, whew. Now we're gonna take our chisel and just lock it in place. There we go, that is it. Other than the test drive, we are done. Good job. All right, that's how you can place your front wheel bearing on your Honda Accord. With the right tools, it's not too bad. Some people ask, well, what about the torque on the tires? 80 foot-pounds is what my manual says. Once you have your tire back on, take it for a good test drive. This was making noise, so we'll make sure that noise is gone, and also make sure that the ABS light does not come on. That's important. If everything checks out, you are good to go. You might ask, well, do I need an alignment? It's a good question. It wouldn't hurt to get one. Even though it's not 100% necessary, it's just always a good idea to have it checked every few years anyway. And that is it. I'll have a link in the description for all the parts and tools used. If you have any questions, comment, post down below. We'll see you on the next one.